The Turn 4 Perspective. Weekly dirt racing news brought to you by Brooke John Peer.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to episode 8 of the Turn 4 Perspective. This week's episode is going to be filled with content because last week I didn't have enough content for a episode to be created, so this week's episode is going to cover last week's and the week before. So without further ado, let's jump right into it so I can get you guys the latest racing news in the dirt track racing world. We're starting off with the Short Track Super Series, and they were at Georgetown Speedway 2 weeks ago. Stuart Friesen won that race, and Matt Shepard got the championship. Now, it's no surprise to anybody that both of these drivers won and got the championship. I mean, they're big names in Northeast Modified Racing. Stuart Friesen's a GOAT, although I'm not a personal fan of him, but he is a GOAT. He does have some serious talent. And Matt Shepard, I mean, he won a shit ton of races, and there was just a bunch going on this year, with the Super Dakar Series, the Short Track Super Series, and Land of Legends Raceway, and all of that. So combined with all of that, it's not a shock to anybody that Shepard got the championship and Stuart Friesen won, but that is what happened at Georgetown Speedway. That was the only race that happened 2 weeks ago, but there was some dirt track racing news that came out 2 weeks ago, and that is the High Limit Racing schedule. They announced their schedule, and they're going to 15 new tracks in 2025, as well as a couple new states, and that includes the state of Arizona. But one of the new tracks that High Limit Racing is going to is my home track at Ranceville Speedway. I am extremely hyped for this because, one, it's my home track. I live a mile away from it. But also because I will be able to officially cover it with my internship, the Podium Finish, and that's going to be absolutely amazing because I will be able to shine at my home track, which is great because everyone in my hometown and local area is rooting for me and my professional career. So I am really excited to get going on that and see where that goes. But I am super happy that High Limit Racing is coming to Ranceville, especially since we haven't had a major series at the Big R in quite a while. So moving on to last week's updates, events, whatever you want to call it, it was one event, and that was the World Finals. Now, the World Finals took place at a dirt track at Charlotte Motor Speedway, and it was November 6th through 9th, which was Wednesday through Saturday. So first off, we're going to start with the Super Dirt Car Series. The Super Dirt Car Series started off on Wednesday. Anthony Perego got the quick time for Thursday's race with a 16.241 time. On Thursday, Tim Fuller took the win. On Friday, Matt Williamson got the win, and on Saturday, Anthony Perego got the win again. Now, on Thursday, the points championship got in jeopardy because Matt Shepard changed his engine, resulting in a little bit of a points deduction. Now, that meant that Matt Williamson was in bigger contention with Shepard, and after his win on Friday and his finishes on both Thursday and Saturday, Matt Williamson became the 2024 Super Dirt Car Series champion. So that comes as no surprise to anybody because if you looked at his statistics during the course of the 2024 season and at all the tracks he went to, and especially at his now home track of Ranceville Speedway, he completely dominated. So it comes as no shock to anybody that Matt Williamson won the championship. And personally, as a Williamson fan, I was super excited for this. And the next day, I went out and wore his shirt from 2019 that I have. But yeah, the engine change that Matt Shepard did really affected the way the championship panned out. Because if Shepard hadn't have done that, he might have had enough points and he would have beat Matt Williamson. I don't know if he would have gotten, a big a margin. Maybe it would have been a couple points, 2, 3, 4. But Williamson won. And it really goes to show that such a small thing as changing an engine can really affect your championship points. Moving on, though, to the World of Outlaws Sprint Car Series, on Wednesday, David Gravel took the quick time with a 12.626 lap. On Thursday, Gravel continued his dominant streak and won. On Friday, Carson Macedo won, and Gravel was crowned as the champ because of his win and his quick time and everything during the course of the season. It just proved to everybody that he had the skills to do it, and he most certainly did, and he became the 2024 champion of the World of Outlaws NOS Energy Sprint Car Series. And David Gravel became a champion with a major series for the first time in his career as well. So that's pretty big for him. And then on Saturday, Tyler Courtney won. But the race on Saturday wasn't for anything. It was just for bragging rights, so to speak. So Sunshine got that. But, David Gravel did get a pretty good finish. But Saturday's race was not really anything of importance. It was just a race for people to contend and get money, basically. So, yeah, David Gravel was your 2024 champ, and that comes as no surprise to anybody either, because during the 2024 season, he completely dominated and broke the 100 all-times win list as well. So he is among a limited number of drivers who are World of Outlaws champions, but he is in there, and he also broke the 100-win streak barrier. So, moving on to the late model series, the World of Outlaws Case Construction late model series. On Wednesday, Chris Madden got the quick time with a 14.785 lap. And on Thursday, Ricky Thornton Jr. won that race. On Friday, Bobby Pierce won the race. And on Saturday, Chris Madden won the race. But Shepard became the champ for the 5th time in his career. Now, the reason why Bobby Pierce didn't get the championship, because just like Shepard and Williamson, it was Bobby Pierce and Brandon Shepard. Bobby Pierce had a little bit of an incident during the halfway through the race on Saturday of where he slowed down on the backstretch. And it was because of either a mechanical failure or a flat tire. I don't remember which. But he had to go in and get his pit crew to help him out. And because of that, Bobby Pierce lost points and Shepard finished ahead of him, meaning that he automatically won that championship because it was handed to him. So for the 5th time in his career, Brandon Shepard became a World of Outlaws late model champion. And Bobby Pierce was just sitting there in second in points. Brandon Shepard did good this year, but like I've seen it happen before, you can win a championship without winning one single race. So as long as you show up and get good finishes, you can have anything happen to you, and I believe this is what happened. Just Bobby Pierce had some bad luck. His team mascot is Rocky Balboa, and he had a first Rocky movie experience. But yeah, so that is the result for the World of Outlaws late models, and that was all that race last weekend. So now we're going to jump into the drama or news of the episode. So first up is that Brandon Overton is coming back. He is going to be in the number 76, and he's going to be with Longhorn. And in more late model news, Max McLaughlin is going to be done with the 22 Star at the end of the season as well. No updates or future plans have been announced for Max, but we do know that he is done with the 22 as of right now and as of last weekend. So that is the end of that. And one more late model update, because it seems that the late models are having more drama than anybody lately, is that Brandon Shepard is going back to Rocket One Racing. Now, you'll remember in I believe it was episode 3 or 4 of this podcast, I mentioned that Brandon Sheppard was leaving Riggs Racing. Well, now he announced that he's going to be going to Rocket One Racing, but he's still going to be with Longhorn Chassis. So it's very interesting to see all these team changes that are happening even before the seasons are completely over. So this just goes to show what's going to happen in the real off season, like starting now. Are drivers going to swap even more? But yeah, so Brandon Sheppard is back with Rocket One. Max McLaughlin is done with the 22 star, and Brandon Overton is coming back with the National Series. But moving on to the sprint drama, and this is the last drama of the podcast episode, is that Brian Brown, who competed at Charlotte this past weekend, his crew member went to signal him to come into the pits or work area for something, but he signaled him with a laser pointer. According to Word of Outlaws rules, you cannot signal or get the attention of your driver with a laser pointer or anything representing thus. So because of that, Brian Brown has to pay $300 as a fine. I mean, $300 isn't that big of a deal, and I feel like Brian Brown really could care less about this, but it is news. It is something that he does have to pay because his crew member went to signal him with a laser pointer, and now he has to pay the price for his teammate doing as such. But anyway, that is all I have for you guys for this episode. Thank you so much for listening. I'm sorry about not having one out last week, but like I said, there was not enough racing going on to bring you guys enough content. But please continue to send me feedback, series you want covered, races you want covered, things you want talked about, anything really. I'm open to anything. Thank you guys so much, and I will see you in the next episode.